Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Boomer Live. And before I start this stream, I just want to tell Pakistan would want to forget one date from their calendars from next year onwards and remove it completely. It is 23rd of October. 1 year ago, they absolutely were taken aback when Virat Kohli came in and played the knock. 1 year later, 23rd of October, they had never lost to Afghanistan in a one-day game before this. Come this day, Afghanistan defeats them by 8 wickets, and they have defeated them in a clinical manner by chasing down a historic target in World Cups. Remember, prior to this, Pakistan only had considered 274 against India in 2003 to lose a match, while defending a score as of 273 in 2003. And this has become the highest ever successful chase versus Pakistan. Afghanistan's first ever victory versus Pakistan in the World Cups. Afghanistan for the first time I won 2 games in a World Cup. So a lot of things they have actually crossed over the line today. And remember, every batter and every bowler today deserves credit in the Afghanistan camp. They had come closer so many occasions, but finally, as we did mention after that England game, that's going to lay impetus for many more victories, and that certainly has. Jaren, what a day for Afghanistan cricket, and what a moment this is for World Cup.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all knew that this day was coming once at least, because Afghanistan had come so close before to beating Pakistan, and but today was just clinical, as clinical as you can get. Pakistan helped a lot. I think Pakistan were the ones who really helped Afghanistan get that kind of position they got into. Very good job by Pakistan, to be very frank, to reach to 282, and I genuinely felt 282 when they reached, it was almost done and dusted for Afghanistan. Even yesterday we said, right, that the only way Afghanistan has a chance at it is if they're not chasing, but they've proved a lot of people wrong. And what they did right is they did not play a lot of risky cricket. They played the basics right. Even someone like a Remunula Gurbaz did not take a lot of risks today. It was very much risk-free cricket, risk-free shots, textbook cricketing shots,
Yeah.
and that made sure that, even if this, I mean, someone like Remula Gurbaz smashed only 1 6. He scored 4 boundaries and still was able to strike at 122. But the rest who followed, Ibrahim Zadran, Rahmat Shah, good to see Rahmat Shah back as that solid rock in the middle order, because he has had some issues in the past before, but he's really came good in that clutch moment. And then the skipper just seemed like in the second half, that they were playing on a different ground altogether. And I don't think that was anything to do because of the pitch in itself, but it's basically Afghanistan's batting and Pakistan's fielding.
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll talk about that as we get into the live. But one thing which I'll give credit to Afghanistan today is the grit and determination they showed, and the game intelligence. We keep talking about game awareness being a major factor. Today's chase is a leaf out of Virat Kohli's chase book. It was so much like Virat Kohli's chase. It had to be 23rd October as we celebrate Virat Kohli's masterclass from last night and everything. It had to be from a leaf out of Virat Kohli's book kind of a chase. You look at the template they had set, the running between the wickets, so classic and so pivotal there. And I know they've hit some really good boundaries in today's game, but let's talk about the running between wickets over there, right? The number of times they dabbed and picked up those singles, every time they converted singles into twos, Pakistan were left stunned. They didn't have any idea as to what was happening. And that's where we've been talking about. They did not consume a lot of dot balls because of the fact that they were ready to run between the wickets harder. They were able to run quick singles. They were able to put absolute pressure back on Pakistan in every over. They got a brilliant start in the power play, but they capitalized that with good running between the wickets. And they made sure at no point, whenever they wanted a boundary, they would actually achieve it by taking 7 runs and over by hitting no boundary at all. So that is what we've been talking about, right? Clinical, classic chase, which we've been seeing from a lot of Indian batters over the years. Glad to see an Indian coach being there as a mentor, Ajay Jadeja. He knew
Yeah,
a thing or two
Ajay
about
Jadeja.
defeating Pakistan and to play such knocks. And I'm pretty sure he would have had a lot to say before this chase.
Yeah, I think two people stand out to me in that Afghanistan dressing room. One is obviously Ajay Jadeja, for sure. I think he's become the permanent mentor for them now, or I think it's just for this World Cup. Either way, he's done a great job there. But the other guy who really comes to my mind is Jonathan Trott. He knows how to bat in these conditions. He was the highest run getter in the 2011 World Cup for England. So this guy has brought in a mentality, and I think he's also brought in that confidence in Afghanistani batting. I think the likes of Ramullah Gurbas, Ibrahim Zadran, Hajmatullah Shahidi. We had Azmatullah Omarzai against India as well. So these guys are really raising their hands. Before it was Afghanistan was just a bowling team. They still, I mean, their strength is bowling, but you have to say the batting has come leap and bounds. Leaps and bounds, especially in this World Cup. They've
Yeah.
shown that that they can do it, and if when time is required. And today was not an easy day. I mean, the ball was reverse swinging after the 35th over. It was turning. I know there are a lot of people out there who are saying that there's no turn there, or I mean, it was a lot easier, I would say, to bat in the second half. That's for sure, and that's always the case when it comes to one-day cricket. But even then, I just felt on a pitch where you have so much to offer for spinners. The spinners went for 6.24 runs and did not get any wicket, and it was not like there was no turn there. So very surprised, very upset as well. But then yeah, I think you have to just give it to Afghanistan. They played very clinical cricket and they played safe cricket. It was very much Virat Kohli, like you said. It was singles, doubles, and boundaries. They did not really look to hit the ball in the air, and they didn't
Yeah.
really need to as well.
Yeah. Shinwari is truly gutted and happy. So he's half Afghani and half Khyber, which is from Pakistan. So which is an interesting combination for the day. I'll say have Afghani roti with Nihari from Pakistan. I think that's going to be making your day much better. But I think you should be happy today if you lean towards Afghanistan as a cricket team. But I'm pretty sure you support Pakistan more than Afghanistan, the cricket team. So I think you would be more gutted than happy. But if you are happy, congratulations to you. Streak broken, as I like to say in Babar Azam's words. Streaks are meant to be broken. It has finally broken. India, where
Yeah.
they were trying to stop India from winning the eighth game, but Afghanistan has certainly stopped Pakistan from winning the eighth game against them. So it is interesting. It is a beautiful day for cricket in general. They beat 3-0 before Asia Cup, but Afghanistan won it when it mattered. And after all this defeat, that is well deserved Afghanistan. Do you think Afghanistan could have battled a bit more aggressively in their batting towards the end? Very interesting question, though. Yeah, because Afghanistan still remain under Pakistan in net run rate.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that should have ever creeped in? I still feel the victory is what mattered more than anything else today.
I think it would have been any other team, right? Any other team which has had a history of beating Pakistan, you would say, yeah, you probably should go after it. But for Afghanistan, this win means a lot. I mean, remember, guys, Afghanistan have, when it comes to, Afghanistan has, when it comes to Pakistan, a rivalry. The fans, there's something about this rivalry. I think India, Pakistan, still the players are amicable to each other, but you see a lot more fight, when it comes to, I mean, a lot more aggression when it comes to Pakistan and Afghanistan. But yeah, having said that, so I think the whole point of it was to just get through it, kind of a very Dhoni or a Kohli kind of a philosophy that win matters more than how quickly it is. And I think more Dhoni than Kohli. But yeah, I think their idea was just to finish it off, and they didn't want to take any risks and maybe give that little bit of hole. Because remember, it was not like it was 15 or 20 balls difference, runs and balls difference, right? It was very close still, a couple of wickets, and you never know. So I think that's the reason why they didn't want to expose a new batter and just finish it off clinically.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing which I'll always give credit to Afghanistan today is the composure they showed. I mean, we've been talking about Rahmanullah Gurbas and the rest of Afghanistan players being so much T20 dominant, right? They're all good hard hitters of the ball. But one thing which I love from Rahmat Shah or even from Ibrahim Zadran was they knew what they had in their hands. They knew they can just score 5 runs and over by just tapping. That is what is important. They never played a rash shot. And more than all that, I personally felt they targeted the right ballers at the right time. They did not go reckless behind any bowler. They gave respect to Shaheen Shah Afridi when he was in between a good spell. They gave respect to Hassan Ali when he was reversing the ball. They knew they could target on Osama Mir and Shadab Khan whenever they need be, and they were extremely comfortable. I thought Osama Mir could have been more aggressive. He should have bowled more better because the pitch was offering turn a lot more. Let's talk about that, right? Pakistan crawled their way to score that 280 runs, to be very fair. Afghanistan spin had the choke. And today, the good thing was Afghanistan brought in Noor Ahmed, and boy, didn't he pay off in dividends in terms of picking up those 3 wickets and 3 big wickets in the middle order.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, remember the last time we spoke about how I think when Pakistan had played the last match against Australia, I think it was Australia where Adam Zampa picked up those 3 wickets.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think in a very similar fashion today you saw Noor Ahmed do it. But I mean, for a young teenager to go up against probably one of the most important match that one of the most important matches for Afghanistan. I mean, if Afghanistan looked at that table or looked at those at that schedule, and if they had to pick a match to win, it would have been this one for sure. So for him to go out there, pick the wicket of Babar Azam, who was batting very well, you would have to say it, 74 runs, and then came back, picked up Rizwan. I think he would have been very dangerous as well in that middle order. If he was there, would have probably pushed that score to a little bit more. And then again to come back, and I think he picked up the third one that he picked up was it was Shafiq, right? Who was
Yeah,
already. But I mean, in many ways, you'd have to say that again, Pakistan probably did I mean, they did a lot better than what they've been doing when it comes to power plays. But again, they kind of messed up the power play, right? I can understand still from Afghanistan point of view why they did not score, and they did score 60 runs in the power play. But I think for Pakistan, especially batting in the sun, you had to go out against the Afghanistani fast bowlers and smash a few in the power play. Because I think Afghanistan's weakness was their pace bowling. I mean, today as well, the pace bowlers went for 8.5 runs per over, and they only bowled, I think, 12 overs, if I'm not wrong.
yeah,
So, yeah, I mean, 12 or 13 overs. So, the reason for that is because they don't trust their pace bowlers as much. They were playing and Azmatullah Omarzai, who's probably a part-time pacer in that second half as well. So not really going at 100 strike rate plus the openers, right? I can totally understand when it comes to Babar or when it comes to Rizwan and the lower order. It's still not that easy to go after the bowling in that on that kind of an abrasive pitch. But to not go after the bowling in the power play, that was a sin, I would say, and that keeps on hurting. I mean, today I think after 1,100 deliveries, they finally hit a six in the power play. So that
absolutely,
shows that
absolutely.
their defensive nature in the power play is just hurting this team.
Absolutely. I personally felt as well at some stage that they had to take risk at the right time. And, when leaving it all for Iftikhar as usual was a very bad idea.
Yeah.
We often give credit to that knock from Babar Azam, but I felt again, when you're putting a score up, you should be more proactive as to judge what could be a right score. I thought this was not a bad pitch like what you saw, not a bad pitch, not a pitch like what you saw in Chennai, in India versus Australia, because that was a lot more aggressive in comparison to this. Because this pitch did not really show up to that factor where the ball was gripping, turning square, or anything of that sort. Only the ballers who were able to generate turn when the wrist is. If you talk about even Nabi there, he was economical. He always is economical. And if you talk about one baller who generated turn, that was Noor Ahmed. And that's basically because of the angles he was able to create, him trying to come round the wicket and ball a googly, take the ball away from the right hander. But that's just sheer skill from him. But
Yeah.
once again, Pakistani batters will have themselves to blame,
Yeah, I
especially while
mean,
hitting target.
you spoke about how Afghanistan took their chances against right bowlers, right? We saw that they respect. They went after Haris Rauf, they went after Shadab Khan, they went after Usman Mir. But whom did they not go after is Hassan Ali and Shahid Afridi? Because I mean Shaheen Afridi, sorry. Because they knew that these lads are gonna bowl well, and that they have the most ability to take wickets. Hassan Ali bowled beautifully today. I think he deserved more than a wicket because he did ball the right lengths. It was just not the day for Pakistan. But the same way, I think Pakistan should have realized. I think Pakistan should have known that the Naveen ul Haq, and they went after Naveen ul Haq. Yeah, granted, they went after an Omar Zai. Yes, but I think they should have realized that the power play is the best opportunity. The ball is hard. It's not going to turn a lot in that first 10 overs as well for the spinners. And I know there's going to be a little bit of extra bounce, but just know that you had to go after the bowling. I mean, look at in this case, right? Look at the economy of Haris Rauf, Usman Mir, Shadab Khan. They're all about the required run rate. So that just shows that whom did they go after and whom did they let alone. So very, very much surprised that I think Pakistan did not show the game awareness that Afghanistani batters did.
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll take some comments right here. A couple says he's waiting for a special person in our channel. I'm not sure who it is. Afghanistan saying that we
I think I
think,
know who it is. And
yeah,
yeah,
obviously we
who
know.
will say.
Never say it. Noor Ahmed showed his class and Gurbaz was determined to win this. Yeah, we agree. And that's something which we've been talking about. We've been routing for, just getting them back together, especially Noor
Yeah.
Ahmed in this team was an inclusion they should have done a couple of games ago, but nonetheless, now they've brought him in at the right time. They knew them knowing that Pakistan have had their struggles against Kuldeep Yadav, so a Chinaman bowler or a left-arm wrist
Yeah.
spinner would not be a bad idea. And he says the thing happened to India against Pakistan 2021. The same thing happened to Pakistan, right? I think I'd say the otherwise because with India and Pakistan they went level footing. And even here, to an extent, you shouldn't be surprised because Afghanistan were the ones who had momentum by their side. I understand that Chennai lost to New Zealand was slightly shuttering for them, but remember they just defeated England. They're on a high, even as a team. They're possibly having the best World Cup of their cricketing history. They've got players who are much bigger match winners. I think it shouldn't leave you disappointed because Pakistan have been on a losing momentum right now, so everything is going bad for them at this. Everything that they touch is just getting worse to worse. The win was beautiful, but shame on Chennai people for wearing Pakistan jersey and cheering for them. Interesting point, Jen. What do you reckon about that? A lot of people turning up in Chennai wearing Pakistan jersey. You reckon that's just beautiful for the sport, or do you want to see otherwise?
Um, I think it's a tough spot you've put me in. I think there's a lot to do with politics as well. I mean, for me, I still believe there are a lot of things that Pakistan has to answer for, but then that's very political side of it. If you just look at the sports side of it, yeah, maybe you can say it is a gesture, but then I wouldn't do it if that's what you're asking. My personal opinion, I wouldn't do it as an Indian, but then I think to each their own.
Yeah. Okay, Park facing Roman King Classic next. Oh, that's gonna be hard, man. Pakistan has got a
I
the
mean,
whole
if what Klaasen is doing to pace spinners, I think that's going to be mouth-watering to watch.
absolutely. I think that's where it is gonna be a very interesting game, to be honest. If you look at the way in which both these teams have been playing in this World Cup, South Africa are in a better position, to be very honest. If you look at the way in which how South Africa played this World Cup, they just feel there's something really going their way. I mean, we understand Netherlands lost and they got it out of their way first up. That's very important, right? We've been speaking about that, how to get these losses out of your way first up, and they did get the Netherlands
Yeah.
loss out of their way first up. But we don't want to go into that right now. I think we'll talk about Pakistan, but before that, let's data wise, let's look at how things could have been better for both the teams. Now, if you look at
Yeah.
here, one factor which you often talk about is Pakistan spinners in this World Cup, and once again, it was a major difference, wasn't it? The Pakistan spinners not really turning up, being a weak link in their bowling. I know they've gone to their best possible option, Osama Mir. Even he couldn't provide them with anything. Today was the most attacking spin bowling attack they played. I know maybe Nawaz would have possibly made a difference, maybe not. We don't know. Finger spinners in Chennai have often done well, but it's still
Exactly. Yeah.
a far-fetched high inside what we are looking at this point. But Pakistani spinners and Afghanistan spinners, if we talk about Afghanistan spinners, primarily Noor Ahmed, the big boys did not really come into play as much as they would have want to. And pacers for Pakistan, as usual, they picked up the 2 wickets. And who picked up the 2 wickets? They would had to go down to once again Shaheen Afridi coming in and picking up Gurbaz there and trying to apply some bit of pressure, but it wasn't to be. And Hassan Ali bowling beautifully, I thought. But Afghanistan Pacers again was not very impressive. But I really didn't want Afghanistan to play even a
I
single
mean,
piece in today's game.
yeah, you would have
Afghanistan
to say that,
in the game.
yeah. I mean, if you look at the data point, right, I think 50 of those runs, or 50 odd runs, I think at 10 runs per over was given by whom? I was given by Azmatullah Omarzai. Azmatullah Omarzai is a part-time bowler, so you know that he's gonna go for runs. I mean, we spoke about in making him a second seamer on a pitch like Chennai. That was pretty understandable why they went for him. He gave 50 of those 5 overs. If you just look at Naveenul Haq, I mean, he gave away 52 runs in 7 overs, granted, but he picked up those 2 wickets as well. And I think he picked up Iftikhar Ahmed in that 50th over. That was a very important wicket. And then a Shadab Khan at the end of that. But I mean, Afghanistan are not known for their pace bowling yet, right? There's a lot of nuance that the Afghanistani pacers lack in. But having said that, I think what they did do, or at least what went wrong for Pakistan, is on a wicket where spinners were supposed to do well, right? They had to rely on their pacers. And there was a bit of a weird moment there, Abel, where I think seven was 43rd or 44th over when Harris Roth and or was it 35th or 36th? I don't exactly remember, but there was a period in time where Shaheen Shafruddin and Harris Roth were bowling, and the balls had to reverse swing. And for some reason, the first 2 overs, it seemed like Afghanistan were just a bit nervous because the
Yeah,
ball was reverse swinging. And then Babar went to a Shadab Khan and Usma Mir from both the ends.
right.
That was the most absurd captaincy choice ever. I mean, if a
Yeah,
game goes to the 45th, 46th over, the game's going to
yes,
end.
yes. That's
I don't
that's a
know
very
why
good
he
point.
would not try that.
And not just that, Jaren, to be very fair, you can either close out a game by bringing your pacers and saving your spinners for the end. I know Babar has faced a brunt of criticism for that previously as well for saving his spinners. Maybe that could have played a part. But for me, what really showed Babar Azam, the captain today, was just dead body language. We've been talking about it so many times often in our life, how body language matters for captains. And today I saw a
Absolutely.
couple of occasions where the team was not really looking to Babar Azam. Those kind of moments
Yeah.
made it funny, when team is around, Shaheen is going and talking to Rizwan, Shadab is trying to get in. These three have formed a core of captaincy group, and no, but Babar is left out of it, and that is
And
not good sign if
you
you're
know
a
what's
captain.
worse, Abel? You know what's worse? At a point in time, you see these guys bullying Babar into making decisions. I
Exactly,
mean, you saw the DRS call, the most
exactly.
absurd DRS call
And I'm
in the
so glad that
history.
Barber denied one. Ultimately, that ball, which
Yes,
he ball to
just crossed to the
Asatullah and
square.
the ball hit the thigh pad. But to be very
Yeah,
fair, there is a clear sign. I know we're sitting outside and we're just speculating it,
yeah,
but we can't see enough to say that there is a leadership rift between the team
yeah.
that's very visible. The Rizwan,
I
Shaheen, and
think,
Shadab are trying to form something,
yeah,
and Babar is left out of these discussions. And
they're
I
very,
personally think that's not
very,
good for
yeah.
Pakistan cricket.
Oh yeah, very typical Pakistan cricket team, right? We've been speaking about how there's been a unity in this team, how for the past few months, or I think a couple of years at least under Babur's tendency, there hasn't been much issues. But I think this is Babur's last World Cup. That's almost for sure.
I
I
think
was just going
Babar
through
Azam, the
Pakistan.
captain, is living on ventilator at this point, and
Absolutely,
at least as a one-day captain. But I think he still
absolutely.
might be a
No,
good
I
T20
think
captain to continue.
no, I think
But
able to
in
be very frank, just like India, shared captaincy is not a Pakistani thing. It's not going to happen. If there's a captaincy change, you saw what happened with Sarfaraz, right? There was no share captaincy. He was just removed. And I know Babar as a batter has enough cred that he won't be removed, but I'm 100% sure this is Babar's last one day captaincy stint. I think it's Shaheen who might get the nod ahead because of how he's done well in
I don't
PSL.
think so because they wouldn't want to go to a
And
fast
at
bowler
least for
probably.
me, I think Shaheen is a better pick than Rizwan because from what I've seen with Rizwan, he's very, very, very impulsive. I mean, and I don't know if Rizwan is the right guy to be the captain. I think Shaheen is, but then the issue with him is his injuries. You're right about that. How much will Shaheen play as a captain, right? Tough one, but I think Babar, and I'll agree. Many ways, Babar doesn't have that. I think Babar is a good leader in good times, but when things get tough, right, his shoulders are the first to fall. And I think many a times he's one of those players who's the pressure is really affecting him. And I think he'll become a lot better contributor to the team once the captaincy is removed. I think that's just how it's going to be. And yeah, I mean, I genuinely feel bad for the guy because I mean, whatever happens, the camera is on him. Whatever happens, the conversations
Yeah.
about him. Not an easy place to be. But then I think at the point in time, you have to understand that he's not being a very innovative captain. He's not able to get those results. And for some reason, I think he's not got the backing of the boys, just like you say.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll take some questions again. A lot of comments today, guys. To be honest, the generational talent Nasim Shah and the bowling is toothless. And absolutely, we were all in agreement with the fact
Yeah.
that without Nasim Shah, this bowling becomes even toothless. But can you just say if he was there, this would have been a better bowling lineup? I personally don't think so. To be very fair, if you look Pakistan's one-day team, I think they lack a lot of things. One bowler who's played a lot of first-class cricket is there. That is Nasim Shah. A lot of other bowlers need to go and play first-class cricket. To be very fair, because they've been all around the place. Let's even for example, Shaheen Shah Afridi, he improves. He is an ardent learner. I still think he comes back improved as a bowler every time he comes into ball, but he still
Absolutely.
can go for once. And
I
to be
also
very
think,
fair,
Abel, you can't really blame Shaheen as well. He's had good spells, but there's no support on the other end. It just people are
yeah,
playing him out. And I
yeah,
mean, if you look at the middle over, right, that's the biggest worry for them because in this World Cup, they're the second worst team in the middle overs. Netherlands is far better than them. The only one team who's done worse than them is Sri Lanka. But if you remove Sri Lanka out of the picture, 6.17 economy rate in the middle overs,
yeah,
49 average in the middle overs, that's just bad. And
absolutely.
I mean, they're getting one wicket in every 10 overs. So that's
Yeah.
really hurting their
Truly,
chances.
truly. Rajishmati says Pakistan's loss likely gives this lineup for the World Cup. But wait a minute, Afghanistan are playing Netherlands and Sri Lanka next up.
Yeah.
Afghanistan can get on a winning run from here on. And if they pull up one upset out of South Africa and Australia, who knows? Who knows? Are we just jumping the gun already? Because we are writing one Afghanistan team out for no reason. And remember, they are playing Sri Lanka and Netherlands next and Australia later on. And then South Africa in the end. South Africa has a tendency to lose some of these matches. Australia, it all depends on where they are. If they get a game like this where they possibly can impose a spin choke, anything is possible. Remember, this World Cup is played in Asia, so anything is possible in this World Cup. So Afghanistan up might be the favorites to start against Sri Lanka and Netherlands for sure. And if they can get one out of three for one of the most Pakistan of Pakistan. They are miracles time and time again, and they're a team I really trust that they might just come out and pull out a rabbit out of the hat and really get on a run as well. So for Pakistan, everything is not easy, but it's not impossible as well. What could Pakistan have done well in their bowling? That's what we've been talking about. They need to ball better lines. They have to be tighter with lines. They have to impose pressure,
Yeah.
better captaincy. Fielding is a very big factor to all of this. And
I
some
think
put
it's,
it
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I they were just very. I think towards the end, after the 30th over, once the match was almost sealed, that's when they started playing well. But remove that first 30 overs, horrific fielding. I mean, not at all what you expect from an associate nation, let alone I mean, if you look at. I mean, I don't know what to say about the fielding at this point in time. I think the way they field is just letting go
yeah,
of that pressure. I mean, even if, and also they're bowling, right? They ball well. It's not like they've bowled well. I think Shadab bowled some good balls, but the issue is in one day cricket, it's not just about bowling well.
yeah,
It's not just about bowling defensively. It's also about getting wickets. It's about also about wicketing deliveries,
yeah,
especially if you're spinners because you're bowling in the middle overs. Because your job is to make sure that the team doesn't have a launching pad in the last 10 overs. But it just seems like every single time Pakistani bowlers are just giving, I think they just have to rely on their pacers every single time to get something out there. And these lads are also getting tired. I mean, it's every team knows just play it out and it's going to be easy. And that's the biggest worry at this point in time. And the batting is well. Again, I think middle overs, the batting also hasn't been that great. So two things.
absolutely.
I think middle overs is where they're really losing the plot, to be very frank.
Absolutely. Chennai is the same place where the iconic test match was won by them, Sai Anwar. I remember they also had won the 99 as well. Yeah, correct. Iconic test match and Sai Anwar, correct. These were the two games where they have never lost. And remember, they had a good record in Chennai prior to this, and they would want to forget this ground forever after this. And they don't want to forget this day. Aisha is here, a Pakistani fan. Lanatho Pakistan team per Lanatho in per. My heart is burning. I feel for you, Aisha. We've all
Yeah,
received
mate.
it at some stage. If you're a sporting fan, you will receive it as well. Let's be gracious about it. But I still think Bobby Badshaw will rise like a phoenix and take this team to Karachi airport very safely. So today Baba stepped up with the ballers ghosted, but I think both did not step up. Baba's batting, yes, but questionable, very questionable. I'll talk about it later on. I think that would have been a good knock if he was chasing, but batting first, a lot of questions have to be raised. Shadab and Osama were at least bowling two loose balls halfway. Exactly, Teju. Because
Yeah, yeah.
they are inexperienced. That's exactly the same reason why Shadab
I
was
mean,
dropped. I think Osama is not
yeah.
doing any good for them.
I just wanted to ask for Kapil. I think is my voice fine now, or
Yeah, it was
is
fine.
it
It was
better?
a
I think.
glitch which happened on StreamYard from both of us, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay.
23rd October, jersey number 18 will always haunt them. Absolutely, Teju. It had to be a jersey number 18 and 23rd October, and they are going to delete that calendar. Next year, Pakistani calendars will have 22nd and 24th, no 23rd. It's
I
gone. It's
mean,
absolutely gone.
yeah. 23rd October is turning out to be an early Halloween for them. It's
Yeah,
just
absolutely. It's
not
a
been
Halloween month,
there.
and it has turned out to be that. Uh, it also says Netherlands are better feelings than Pakistan. Absolutely, there's no doubt. There are a lot of teams who are better than Pakistan in this World Cup, and that really shows. Even Afghanistan is a better feeling side, in my opinion. But one factor which really intrigued me today was the Pakistan coaching staff, especially Mickey Arthur for the matter, walking off, especially when there were a couple of loose balls which were balled by the bowlers in the power play. I think it was between the power play overs which were going on. He just got angry and walked off. I think those kind of things really transpire into the team as well. And this is one of the major reasons why I always wanted, local coaches to coach local teams. I understand foreign coaches are great, But maybe for this team, Mickey Arthur is not good enough. Maybe Mickey Arthur and Sarfraz was a better combination, but I don't see a foreign coach really doing well for them. If you look at everybody in that team, right? If the head coach, bowling coach, the director of this team, everybody is foreigners, and I don't think that's going to do them any good. I know Matthew Hayden was great for this team, but I still think, to be very fair, they have to bring in a local coach, a good local coach. There's a lot of talent there. They can get in a Yunus Khan and see how it goes. They can get in better players and see how it's. I know Wakar Yunus State was bad, Misbah State was bad, but there are better coaches. Groom them in NCA, groom them with the Pakistan A team, and see how things go. Because I still think the cultural differences matters a lot to really understand how things go, and also a coach who can understand modern day cricket, and that's what's important. Getting a Shoaib Malik if he's free. To be very honest, he can be a good coach in my opinion. Or get in someone like a Yunus Khan, as I mentioned, or Rashid Latif, who sits in caught behind channel on YouTube and has been preaching stuff. Why don't you get him? Or get Wase Habib. That's the best thing you can get in Pakistan right now. He's gonna bring in the bells all around. Should I start the song today for the day?
Why not? I think I'll be listening to him today before I go to sleep. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Love the guy. Love the guy. But yeah, just telling about this, right? I mean, just to address this coaching stuff, I think foreign coaches are good, but as long as you don't give them I think head coach should always be a local coach, right? For the reasons that you have mentioned, it's not wrong to have someone from the outside of your cricketing system to be in that team, because it always gives you a fresh perspective, because you always see good examples of that, right? For example, Daniel Vittori, what he's done with what he did with Australia, for instance, or a couple of them at
Well, I'm
least.
not talking
Of
about
Chris
that,
Lane,
because foreign
for
coaches
instance.
and foreign teams, cultural differences are lesser.
I mean, but my point being, you don't give them the position of a head coach, because that's the guy who makes the decision, right? But it's okay to put him as a mentor, or put him as put him as a mentor, putting as a batting coach, because you'll see that sometimes there are fresh perspectives that guy can offer that maybe not might not be present in your cricketing culture. But having said that, I think I'll agree with you. I think it's also tough as to be in Mickey Arthur's position, right? I'm sure that guy is grilling these guys in that Australian way, but I think Pakistanis need to be told in a different way, in a Pakistani way. And also, I think Kapil is right. They did not play Dil Dil Pakistan, and that's the reason why Pakistan did not
Well, they
beat them.
played some Tamil songs though. Apadi Pode, Pode. That's all good songs, man. Pakistan needs to have better taste in music. If they are here for some bloody Mujra competition or something, I can understand. It's a
Actually,
bloody World
Naseem
Cup.
Shah would have loved that music. I think in one of the interviews he said
Yeah,
he
he
likes
listens
Tamil
to all
songs.
this, right? I think
Yeah.
Azam Khan as well. He loves Tamil music. So getting the guys who loves Tamil music
Ah,
is Chennai
I
boys.
think you're not
Counter
playing
the
the
big
right
thing, man.
players in the right conditions.
Yeah, not playing the right players in the right country. When touring India, get the boys who are accustomed with Indian culture. But no disrespect. But to be very honest, there's no Mujra competition going. It's a World Cup. For God's sake,
Like,
you are here not for a you're not here for some dancing or singing competition. You're for a World Cup. And if he's gonna sit in press conference and say that, that's it. Gary Kirsten was a coach when India won the World Cup. Very interesting point there. How do you say this? Because John Wright, Gary Kirsten, two of India's best coaches historically, have been foreign coaches, and right now we don't know. We're not really want even Duncan Fletcher, for that matter. When we won the championship, he was a foreign coach. But we're talking culturally, right? Nowadays, do you really think a foreign coach can really do that job for them? If you look, Pakistan has had foreign coach success. There is no denying that fact. But does
I
this
think
team
Pakistan
really
has only
require?
had foreign coach success, if I'm not
Yeah,
wrong.
to be yes, to be very fair, yes. But does this team really require a foreign coach? I mean,
No,
we spoke about it right now. But I personally think with Gary Kirsten and Indian team, it really worked out well. Indian team has gotten out of that culture.
you
Maybe the previous generation was more accustomed to having foreign coaches. The current generation is very demanding that there shouldn't be a foreign coach. I think it's the team and the customization of who they want. For example, when Kumble got sacked, it was team who didn't want him. For example, when
yeah.
Sanjay Bangal wanted to be stepped out, team didn't want him. So there were a lot
Justin
of things.
Langer for Australia.
Justin Langer for the Australia. So I think
Yeah.
nowadays you need to get a team, you need to get a coach who really stands by the team and who the team wants, rather than getting a coach for the name of it, for the sake that he's a foreign coach. I don't think Gary Kirsten will ever work in this Indian setup like he would have worked in 2011. So that's what I'm trying to say. It is
I mean,
cultural differences, and it's a,
I
it's a
think if you
generation.
look at it, right, it's always the local coaches that it's always the local coaches that do well when it comes to it successfully. Foreign coaches usually an exception, but it's not like they can't do it. Gary Gerson, for instance, is a great coach. Look at what he's doing in Gujarat Titans, for instance. So I think that's obviously there, that foreign coaches think. But then I think it's also good to it's usually the norm to have local coaches because they are much more understanding the communication, what a player, the background a player comes from. That is something that a local coach can easily understand. No, that's not going to be that
Yeah,
difficult. Communication is not that difficult. I mean, nothing against Pakistan, no disrespect, but half the team does not speak English properly. I'm sure Mickey Arthur needs someone else to explain to him, and things can get lost in translation. All those things
yeah,
are a point in time. I think there was a point that Harsha Bhogale had raised about, I think, the chapel controversy where, Saurav Ganguly and that whole issue. I think it was where he had mentioned a very good point. It was like sometimes the message can be right, but the way the message is said can be wrong, and that way sometimes can be disrupted
exactly,
because of the differences in culture. That
exactly,
is something that
exactly.
a local coach solves, right?
But if you
And
look, Australian coaches have never worked in our culture as well. The two coaches we had were
yeah,
there from common
yeah,
nations, New Zealand or South Africa, even Duncan Fletcher, Zimbabwean. So that's what I'm trying. Maybe Australian way of being very at the face kind of it really doesn't
yeah.
work.
The
But if you
hard
look at
taskmaster thing, it's not usually worked in the subcontinent. Yeah.
yeah, that is one factor to it. But at the same time, I feel it can really turn
But
its head very very soon.
the way this team has been, I think, I'll be very frank, I think the way this team has performed, it's also got to do a lot with the kind of atmosphere that I think it's also because it's happening in India, right? I think this team has kind of let the pressure get to them. The fact that they're playing in India, there's a lot of talk about it on Pakistan, I mean, on Twitter as well, on the internet.
Yeah.
The fans know it. I think it's the fact that they're playing in India, that enormity of that whole
For
pressure
me,
is
I was
really
very shocked,
them.
Jaren, when they went for Grant Bradburn as their coach. If you look at his coaching record, he just coached Scotland team in 2014, and for him to coach this Pakistan team, I think his credentials are way too less to be having a national cricket team of Pakistan to be coached by him. And it's really been shown as well. A player who's coming from coaching associate nation never really fits into coaching a big team, and that's always been the case. To be very honest, even in football, a smaller team coach really can't manage the expectations of a bigger team, bigger club demands, and all of these things. And it's a very good philosophy what we talk about coaching in sport. You always want a coach who has bigger ambitions, who has dealt with pressure better. So Grant Bradburn alongside Mickey Arthur is not a good combination at this point. Yeah, I think it's a very interesting. Couple says now their fans even can't blame Bisay for the loss. Can't imagine what Farid Khan is
Ah,
going through. Absolutely proud moment for
guys,
Southeast Asia.
I have to say one
Proud
thing.
moment
I
for
wouldn't say
Southeast
it
Asia
out
as
there.
Afghanistan. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say it out there, but guys, do check out Farid Khan on Twitter. You will love his tweets today. I mean, what a barrage of tweets. Just something to entertain. Keep yourself entertained. But yeah, you can go ahead, Abel. I'm so sorry.
Reminds me of Kapil Dev who thinks in Punjabi told Gavaskar when will he start scoring runs. Yeah, I remember that from the 83 movie though. That's a good point, Joshua. Good notice. So, yeah, exactly what I'm trying to say. For some people, their communication is very different. So that's why
Yeah.
coaching matters. But for me at this point, let's talk about the points table because that's the most interesting part of this day. Couple had asked who's playing tomorrow. It's South Africa playing Bangladesh tomorrow, couple. So that's just the update which I wanted to give you. But let's look at the points table as we always do, the tradition at the end of the day after some big games. And if you're an Indian fan, you're very happy. It's a good night for you. And if you are a very
Good two
radical Indian
nights.
fan, you're very, very happy at this.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, for me, I'm happy. Two of my favorite nights in the World Cup so far.
yeah, so 23rd has always been a good night for us. We continue. We continue,
Yeah.
boys. India, New Zealand, South Africa, Australia, as they remain. There's no change in the points table except for Afghanistan, really making the move up front again. They've gotten 2 wins. Pakistan's that L column has got one more X to it. So that's what it is. But now, if you look at Afghanistan from here on, as I mentioned, will be playing Netherlands and Sri Lanka, and Australia and South Africa. If they can win three from there, right? We're talking
Yeah.
about 10 points, which they can possibly end up getting there. 10 points, which they can end up with ultimately. If they can get 10 points and finish up on 10 points, and net run rate is bad, but if they can make up for it for one of the games at least, or things can be extremely funny from here on, isn't it? Because how things can change very quickly in this World Cup. And are we seeing a backdoor entry for Afghanistan from here on?
it's possible. We spoke about it yesterday as well. It's very far, obviously, the possibility. It's not as much as maybe in Australia or a South Africa going through. In fact, today's match, if there's one victor other than Afghanistan, today's match, it has to be Australia. Now, with one match in hand, they would feel like they will get to that 6 point mark, and they can start building a gap between them and Pakistan at this point in time. Another victor, obviously, probably Bangladesh as well. But then again, for Bangladesh, they have a match in hand. They'll still need to win it. The net run rate is not better than of Pakistan, but obviously tomorrow they'll hope that they can maybe pull off a surprise. But aside from that, obviously, I think looking at this table at this point in time, Afghanistan have got
I
a
am
chance.
really worrying
Obviously,
South Africa because Rashid and Noor in Narendra Modi Stadium is going to be a challenge for them. The
yeah.
last game they play there, it's the homeboys against South Africa, and if South Africa are in trouble at that time, they are more likely to choke than Afghanistan there. So it is a possibility, but I still think Australia game will be slightly tilted towards Australia because they're playing in Wankhede. I really don't see spinners coming good there unless you know you really put Afghanistan. You really give Afghanistan some turning wicket in Wankhede. Ajay Jadeja is playing a crucial role in Afghanistan's batting. Giant killing performance. I agree with you. I mean, we are not giving him enough credit as we spoke with Jonathan Trott. I think it is a very, very interesting point, to be honest. Ajay Jadeja has gotten a habit of doing this time and time again, and he's done it. He's done it with this. And he's just a batting mentor. But Jonathan Trott, Ajay Jadeja, entire Afghanistan coaching staff, they've been well drilled getting into this
True.
tournament, and they're showing it very well. England at the bottom of the table, the world champions are just in the bottom of the table.
And I mean, look at the jump that Afghanistan has made, right? They were at a 9 spot before the match. Now they're sixth. So it's still possible. I think England, you never know. They've still got 12 points in hand to win. I mean, not 12. I think, 10 points in hand to win. 12
No, they've
is
got 8
obviously a
points in
very
hand to
good place
win.
to be. No, they've got 5 more matches.
4 more
Nine
matches.
matches. Wait.
4 matches.
9 matches.
Yeah, so 4 more matches to go, 8 points in hand to win.
No, they played 4 matches, Abel. 9 matches is
Yeah,
the
so they
total
got
that
8 points left to grab.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. So I mean they can reach 10 probably, and I think that's still a good place to be. So they'll have to play out of their skins, you never know. But and they'll
So
have to
I'm
change
pretty
things
sure the
obviously.
next 2 matches they can get a good 2 points, 4 points, and that
Yeah.
will really put them in good winning run heading into Australia. Imagine Australia gets bowled out for 270, 260 on Wankhede, and with this confidence that they've chased down 280 in Chennai, in that Wankhede wicket, if you're ready to apply yourself and take out the Mitchell Stark threat away, because they already faced
But you
Shaheen
know,
Shah, who I think is a bowler in form in comparison to Mitchell Stark at this point, then you never know. Then you never know, to be very honest. I don't think spin will be a major factor to challenge Afghanistan, and Wankhede it can go either way because it is a ground which can really nullify two teams as well. Not a bad opportunity for Afghanistan to really put pressure on Australia there.
yeah, true. I mean, especially if they're batting in the first half, they might not even have to face Stark under the lights. I think Stark under the lights will be difficult for them to face. He might try. He might do what he did to Netherlands, right? But if they play in the day, I think Afghanistan have got some chance. And if the dew doesn't set in, who knows? Who knows actually? Because I think
Yeah.
it's the kind of spinners that work on Wankhede able are the ones who don't give a lot of flight, right? Who push it flat, and they've got all three spinners of that sort: Noor Ahmed, Rashid Khan. Even if Noor Ahmed doesn't play, Rashid Khan and Mohammad Nabi are those kind of spinners.
Yeah.
So won't be
And
surprised if
Australian middle order are
they might
extremely
just
jittery too. So if they get on a winning run from
exactly.
here on, India versus Afghanistan is not a bad semi-final in Wankhede, to be very fair. I'm excited for that.
Hmm.
Let's know. Who
Yeah,
knows? It could be a story for the World Cup. Underdogs, like we spoke about Morocco in the FIFA World Cup. It could be very similar with
oh
Afghanistan in
yeah.
the Cricket World Cup. So, but yeah, that's what it is. That's about it from us. You never know. With Afghanistan, we're all happy for them, and we're all sad for Pakistan as well to an extent as to how they've been playing their cricket. Remember, they defeated the two most semi-final hopeful teams before the start of this World Cup, England and Pakistan. Were sure semi-finals
Yeah.
in a lot of people's list, and they both are now languishing down in the bottom half. And remember, when we talk about Afghanistan, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, I think Afghanistan have come into this World Cup with a lot more determination. IPL experience is definitely showing off, and that's really been the case in this World Cup. Thank you once again, everybody, for joining. And do not forget to check out our channel, that is Boomer 11. and subscribe and share this content with as many people as possible. And also get into our app, which is Boomer 11, and check out the premium feature which is available on Boomer 11, where you can buy a lot of groceries, your stuff, which is available for you on the app, and you can get some Boomer points as rewards for that, and enter into premium contests using those Boomer points, and whereby you can win a lot more prizes, which is of very big value. So this is your opportunity, and you can also check out our free-to-play fantasy feature on Boomer 11, and also our predictor feature, where you've been predicting a lot of things, right? How many runs will be scored, how many wickets will be taken. Remember, Bangladesh take on South Africa. Can Henry Klassen score big tomorrow, and South Africa score next of 350, 400? It's all up for you to grab and set it up, set the stage on fire, guys. Take care. See you all tomorrow, and stay safe. Bye bye.
Bye bye, guys.